Good morning, Joe. Thank you for agreeing to have a chat with me today. My name's Jacine. I'm the founder of Roccoco Botanicals, which is Australia's most innovative skincare brand. So, like yourself, I'm a manufacturer, so I'm absolutely thrilled to be interviewing you here today. You started out as a small local company and turned into a major global phenomena. And I loved reading your journey about how you were getting your equipment in and you were building, and how you have had to do things on a shoestring budget. One of my big questions I always get asked by other entrepreneurs: what do you think is the secret for support from your spouse or your partner? Because that's a huge emotional, I suppose, toll on them with your entrepreneurial journey, as my husband's had to endure. What do you think the secret is for that?
Well, Jacine, nice to meet you. And what time is it for you, though? You're in Australia?
Oh, I'm actually in Pennsylvania at the moment. So
Oh,
I'm actually in
okay.
the US at the moment. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's 9:15 in the morning here.
Oh, that's not bad time. And it would have been something like 9 o'clock at night or something like that if
Yes.
you're in Australia from
Yes.
where you are. Oh, well, nice to meet you. Great stuff. And so, oh, all the best that you also have a sneaker brand, which is
No, cosmetic brand.
a cosmetic brand. Sorry,
Yeah.
cosmetic, right? But it's still making a product, isn't it? Still
Yes.
making a product. Right then, we talk about partners. I I think I was a bit of a challenge to my first partner. Julie and I have been together now 30 years, but I was married to Jean. And yeah, but I don't know. When I was younger, I suppose I was probably more selfish, maybe more determined, more focused. And I guess the partnership that really worked for me was my brother,
Yep.
because we set the company up together. So I think that was the partnership. Um, Otherwise, yes, nothing wrong with Jean. I think it was all to do with me being so determined and whatever. But she did say on more than one occasion, Joe, why don't you go and get a proper job? Because in those early days, I'm sure you experienced the same, it's tough.
It is.
And, and it must have been a lot tougher for Jean than it was for me, because I was enjoying myself. Tough or not, I was enjoying myself. So maybe I wasn't too good at it in those days.
Yep. No, that sounds fairly accurate. I mean, my business has been going for 10 years. We're Australia's fastest growing beauty exporter at the moment, and it's certainly been a journey of ups and lows as well. So, one of the things that's fascinated about me is with your journey is that the way you think. And I love this because you've got the DNA of an improver, which was your words, and you're always thinking, how can I do this better, faster, or more efficiently? And I love that because that's how I think. Now, I call this an innovative mindset. And your actual break into the market, your big one, was when you actually discovered that people who were doing aerobics were not wearing appropriate footwear for what they were doing. How do you think that people within business, with innovation, I find a lot of people get stuck in the way of doing things, and they don't have that innovative mindset. What do you think the secrets are for actually creating that and actually thinking a little bit more strategically or differently?
Well, it's something that we did for a long time previous to finding aerobics, and that was looking for what we describe as white space. White space is somewhere where nobody else is. That means you've got the opportunity to innovate. It's very difficult in a crowded market trying to get into something where there's a whole lot of people doing the same thing. Innovation, yes, but you've not got the space to innovate. Everybody's in there doing the same thing. So if you can find something, okay, a little bit different, well, whatever you may do in cosmetics, I don't know. It may be
Yep.
something that makes your nose shine, or if people want shiny noses, but I mean, I don't know. But it's finding that little bit of space where you can be a little bit different. And it happens in every industry, in every business. There there is change. Things do change, and I'm sure you looking back on 10 years, you can think this is where we started with cosmetics, and look where it is now. Things have changed. You know, you say, well, nobody wanted whatever we produced 10 years ago. Maybe it's old hat now, and people don't want that. We've moved on by whatever way, you know, whatever reason. So yes, I think it's looking for that different space that allows you to be innovative. But I do think you have to be an optimist. You have to be somebody who wants to see through the wall, see around the corner. And for us, aerobics was the big one.
Yes. It's your journey has been fascinating and very inspiring for me, can be honest, as a manufacturer myself, which is very unusual for a brand to be producing their own products. Most brands are actually outsourcing to a contract manufacturer. So like your journey has been very inspiring to me, reading how you've developed. And it wasn't really, like when I look back at your story, it wasn't really a very quick journey. There was a lot of hurdles along the way, which to me is really inspiring. Like, you know, I think many business owners start and they think that they're going to make their millions really, really quickly. And that's often not the way it is. It's a lot of slog, setbacks along the way and hardship. What would be a message that you would give for future entrepreneurs about just hanging in there and focusing on, you know, whatever it is that their destination is? Do you have anything that you would say to them to tell them with regards to just hanging on and keeping going?
Well, just as products change, so does business. And back in 1958, we hadn't heard of any words like influencers.
Yeah.
It was simply marketing. But now it's visibility, it's influencers, it's whatever. And we have a good friend who's just written a book, which is Start, Grow, and then Exit and Repeat. So you start your business, you grow your business, you exit and repeat. This is what a serial entrepreneur is doing these days. So that's what entrepreneurs do now. We were entrepreneurs because we were taking a risk. We were stepping out and doing something different. So that was the probably the early sort of understanding of the word entrepreneur. When you stepped out of the normal way of life and you took the risk. And we were not in it to make money. We were in it to earn a living, because the family itself in the J.W. Foster Company, which is a sports footwear company, my father and uncle, they were just at each other's throats. They were fighting, they were feuding, and that doesn't do any good for a company. It was going down. So when we set out, it was a question. Well, we know things about sports footwear. Why don't we make our livelihood in sports footwear, because that's where we are. We went to college, we did things, but really, to start with, we didn't have any idea that we would be a successful company. We just wanted to be successful enough to earn the money to be able to have a nice lifestyle. Then we started to get into it. We started to understand the business. We started to understand marketing. We started to understand how you grow your business or scale your business. And of course, today they don't teach that. You know, we have been invited to London Business School and a few more colleges and universities to meet the students, the MBA students or the executive MBA students. And almost the first question they ask is, Joe, what was your exit plan? Well, we did not have an exit plan. And I'm not sure if you have an exit plan.
No, I love what I do.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You love what you do, and we love what we were doing. And we were there to, once we got our feet under the table, we were there to build a brand.
Yeah.
And we were there to expand that brand and to leave a legacy, if you will. And we needed luck. We got a lot of luck, and along the road, and we must have done a few things right to get where we got with Reebok. In fact, we became number one. We overtook Adidas, we overtook Nike in the 80s, and we became number one. So we had a really successful time of growing the business. And okay, gone through a flattened period now, but with ABG, we're coming out again. We're beginning to grow again.
I loved reading about how when you first started, you went out on the road and that for 3 or 4 days you were out pounding the pavement, because that's exactly what I did with my business when I first started. And one of the questions that was asked you, I believe, by one of the salespeople is, why should we choose your brand? And I thought that's a really pertinent question, because often there's so much competition on the market. What do you think was the biggest contributor to getting the brand Reebok out there? Is there a single defining moment that you think, wow, this was the turning point where you really started to make huge impact?
Well, I think it was a process, and the process was that yes, I went to the sports retailers, and they liked my product, but said, well, why do I need Reebok? And they didn't. After a few of those sort of visits, I realized they didn't need Reebok. I had to make them need Reebok.
I love
That's
that.
the difference. I had to make them need Reebok. There was the problem, and we had we were in athletics running, and that was called in those days they were amateurs, and it was the 3As, the Amateur Athletic Association, and they produced a handbook. And in that handbook there was about 300 to 400 names and addresses of secretaries of every club in the country. I don't think anybody could sort of blame me for writing a letter to every one of those secretaries and offering them a discount. So I started direct selling to every club in the country. And then the retailers came, and one or two of them decided to phone me and say, you're selling direct to our athletic club. If you stop doing that, I will stop your product. I will stop your shoes. So that started making them want me. And I turned them down. I said no, because I'm only giving 15%. I will give you wholesale price, which is more than 50% off. And I'm sure you, as a very active retailer, work with clubs in your town, and you will give them at least 15% off. So I'm not giving them any more than you would. And I'm sure people like to call in and try the product on, rather than me send them the product, and if it fits, if it doesn't fit, we've got to go through a process. So a lot of people started to stock the product. So that was how I turned around that. That's how I made them want me, because
Yeah.
they wanted the business themselves. And I think you have to devise, what is it? And for you, I'm sure in the business you're in, that if you have a wonderful, good-looking girl, well-known girl locally who you can use as an influencer, then there's no shortcut for this. Undercutting prices is not the way. To go in cheaper is not a way. In fact, you're better off going in more expensive, a higher line of product, and really using that money to get the right influencer to
Awesome.
influence people. Yes.
One just final question. Your grandfather, like you were named after him. My grandfather was also Joseph, ironically.
Oh,
What
right.
was the biggest thing you learned from your grandfather? Because he started the original shoe business. So what was the biggest takeaway that you learned from him?
Well, surprisingly enough, it is influencers. He probably didn't know what influencing was, but he used to supply his shoes to people who won races. And he had 3 world records in 1904, and he had gold medals in 1908 because he gave his shoes to the right people. So he was influencing. He probably didn't know that would become a marketing word, that influencers would become. But I think we picked up that from the fact that he did that, and Chariots of Fire, he supplied the athletes who actually got the gold medals in 1924 and 1928. And so, this is what I think we picked up from, which, although my father and uncle did sort of understand that, what they didn't understand is that you have to work together and develop a business. And Jeff and myself, we worked together to develop the business.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Jacine, it's wonderful. Nice to talk to you, and good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.